The Paquito and the Nenno duo will no longer play together starting from today. Now Paquito Navarro is facing an unusual situation because he has two new partners. How is that possible and who are his new partners? Hello to all players, I'm Pablo and I welcome you to a new 4Set. Paquito and the Nenno played their last tournament at the World Padel Tour Santander last week and it couldn't go better for them. They have achieved such incredible and difficult victories as the 6-1-6-1 against Tupan Lima or the 6-1-6-1 to Sanju Tapia in the semifinals. These results are, in my opinion, the best example of how important is the head in padel. Because it's not a coincidence that these results happened just after announcing their separation as a couple. The separation has allowed them to play this tournament without any pressure, wanting to enjoy each match because each match could be the last. But once Paquito and the Nenno project is over, it's time to start a new one. And in Paquito's case, it's double because he's gonna have two different partners, Juan Tello and Mike Yanguas. But how is it possible that Paquito is going to have two different partners? Well, everything is caused by Martin's decision. As Paquito explained it, the decision to break was taken by Martin because he considers very difficult to recover the feelings and the level of play in the court. However, the Sevillian player Paquito Navarro confessed that he would have preferred to continue until the end of the season instead of changing now. Currently, there are 7 tournaments left to play, 7 World Padel Tours and 2 Premier Padels. So Paquito, once Martin decides to break the couple, he needs to look for a new partner, and that was Juan Tello. And that means that 2 players of the left side of the court will join, so one of the 2 had to change sides. If you want a video analyzing Paquito's chain of side to the right, please subscribe to the channel. But why does Paquito have 2 partners? Who is the other new partner? First of all, you need to know that registration for the World Padel Tour Buenos Aires and Premier Padel Egypt closed last week. Couples that were not considering to break at this stage of the season like Chingoto Tello were already registered at least in Buenos Aires. In addition, in the World Padel Tour tournaments, you cannot modify the registration to play with another partner. So Tello and Chingoto must play together in Menorca and Buenos Aires. Therefore, Paquito was in a situation where in 2 tournaments he would not be able to play with his new partner, Juan Tello. In this way, we reach the situation where Paquito and Yanguas becomes a reality for many padel fans. So let's start to analyze the strengths and weaknesses of this couple. So let's start with the strengths, and first of all is the lack of pressure on Paquito. He considers himself a very emotional player, so much of his performance in court depends on his motivation and emotions. So with this change, he managed to renew his illusion and motivation, and that could be a problem for his opponents. However, we will have to see how the pressure affects Mike Yanguas because he has never played with a player with a ranking as high as Paquito. Second strong point of this couple is the overhead play of Mike Yanguas. With this change, Paquito gets a partner with better overhead shots, especially the Víbora. Also, in my opinion, the Nenno defends better than Yanguas. Another strength of Paquito and Yanguas duo is their friendship. The 2 players get along very well off the court, and actually Yanguas went to Paquito's wedding. However, this couple has also some weaknesses. The first weak point is the ranking because Paquito and Yanguas are in the 6th position of the ranking. Paquito in this case loses his position within the first 4 couples of the ranking, which allowed him not to play in the first round. But on the side of Yanguas is super positive because he with Koki was on the 10th position of the ranking. And that ranking means that they could face any team, any couple from the first round. Another weak point of this couple, Paquito and Yanguas, is Yanguas' physical condition. Mike Yanguas is practically recovered from his right knee injury. However, this season Yanguas has not been able to compete at the highest level, so he has not been able to train well and be in the best physical shape. But anyways, Yanguas and Koki this season they have achieved 2 semifinals, 2 quarterfinals, and they have won 1 challenger. These results keep Yanguas out of the master final but with real possibilities to qualify for it. But nowadays, Lucho Capra and Maxi Sanchez have the last access position, so it's not gonna be an easy one for Mike Yanguas to qualify for the Master Final. As the last weakness of Yanguas and Paquito couple is that Yanguas needs to play more simply. The Andalusian player still has some forced errors in trying to make the shot more difficult and spectacular when he could make a simpler shot. What will happen to Mike Yanguas once he finishes playing with Paquito Navarro? This week, Miguel Lamperti announced his break with John Sanz. And coincidence or not, Mike Yanguas is already registered in Egypt with his former partner Lamperti, so they will end the year together. What results do you see for the couple Paquito and Yanguas? Will Paco be able to play without pressure as he did in Santander? Let's see what's happening in the next days, but don't forget to subscribe for much more content in English. So thank you and see ya!